Insurance broking is a natural pastime for me. I've really enjoyed the people variety. You get to know people, their attitude to risk, their sense of commerce and the marketplace, and usually they're really passionate about the business they're in or the possessions that they have and wanting to protect them. They're looking for support and advice. They want to understand the jargon that can be involved in insurance, and they want somebody to trust. I like being that trusted person. I like being helpful and interested in what they do and seeing that we can add some value for them. In this conversation, I'll share my experience as a Strata broker and how we work with our customers and clients. My name is Alistair Gibney, and this is Being a Strata Broker. An insurance broker is a qualified and trained professional intermediary. We sit between the insurer and the insured, who is the policyholder. We act for the policyholder in their best interests to achieve policy coverage and claims outcomes. To use an insurance broker, the benefits are really tapping into the broker's expertise. You get advocacy in a claim and really how to approach your risks, understand those risks, how to navigate a market that the broker really understands, the market of insurers. That marketplace is actually built by brokers and intermediaries over time to deliver products that meet customer needs. And so you get access to that advocacy at the time of a claim and advice on coverage and protection. An insurance broker is appointed by the insured, the intended policyholder that has a risk. We're appointed officially with a letter, a signed letter from that policyholder to give us access to go to the insurance marketplace on their behalf. That letter of appointment would rescind any previous appointment and authorise us to approach insurers to either access cover in the first place or to update cover and access information the insurer holds for them. To formalise the broker's appointment, the broker requires a signed letter of appointment. Now, generally in insurance, that letter comes from the intended policyholder. In our specialist field of strata insurance, there's another intermediary, the primary relationship holder of the customer, which is a strata manager. And so the strata manager actually holds a delegated authority for all affairs of the owners, including placing insurance. So in those instances, that intermediary, our business partner, will give us a letter of appointment, and we can conduct our business in the market either for new business or to seek records and update the appointment records of the underwriter and take over from any previous party. The insurance broker's customer is the policyholder, the insured. We have a fiduciary obligation to work in their best interests at all time. That answer I'll qualify for our specialist field of strata insurance because strata managers have a primary relationship with the insured also as their customer. And so they can arrange insurance for a portfolio with brokers. And so sometimes the terminology is mixed up. Brokers compete for strata managers' business and occasionally can use that same customer reference. Personally, I prefer to call the insured our customer and a strata manager business partner a client, to avoid any confusion. Brokers can give personal advice, absolutely. That's what we're qualified to do. We have special obligations in the Corporations Act around personal advice. In strata insurance, our field of expertise, typically we don't have the opportunity to consult and get a needs analysis and objectives and financial situation of a strata committee before going on risk. So we would generally give an advice wording, it's called a general advice wording actually, that we haven't sought their specific needs. And we qualify advice and recommendations accordingly. If, however, that isn't appropriate in the circumstances or we're asked to consult, we would happily do so and qualify our advice and give the appropriate advice and documentation to the insured. Insurance brokers have traditionally the placement of risk, the transfer to go to the marketplace. Most common additional services would hinge around risk management, and brokers approach this in a couple of different ways depending on their business model. We give advice about mitigating risk and managing risk. That could be things like there could be poor lighting in a car park that's led to potentially some trips and falls, and we recommend that the lighting area is addressed. It could be about access to the property that's allowing for damage by criminals or even theft of people's property, and we recommend some approaches around security of the premises. Other brokers take this to another level and have a full suite of services that they charge separately for, giving specific advice in depth and writing reports with recommendations, and they charge a fee for those services. An insurance broker produces a quote by firstly preparing what we call a submission. The submission is a collection of all the information that we anticipate the insurance market of underwriters is going to require to price the risk. In our case in Strata, as much information as possible about the nature of the building, its age, its construction, things about its history, machinery, all sorts of things, perhaps playgrounds and features that the underwriter will be interested in that poses risk and affects pricing. Those things might involve reports around claims history, work to be done at the property. We bundle that submission together, typically sending it by an email to an underwriter in the insurance company, and wait on their answer for questions or hopefully a nice competitive price. Simpler risks, things that are a bit more transactional, we now have automatic quote platforms of various insurers. We can send data to them and quite quickly receive quotes back, occasionally receiving a qualified answer if they need some more information. A broker will present their quotes to the Strata plan, usually in this case of specialist in Strata insurance, through the other intermediary, the relationship owner being the Strata manager. The Strata manager and broker operate in a couple of models. Firstly, the authorised representative model. That authorises the Strata manager to receive a submission from the broker and pass it on to the insured Strata plan with some commentary. They might comment generally around the trust they have in the providers, what they understand to be the service levels of the providers. Otherwise, the Strata manager may only be acting as what we call a distributor, and under the Corporations Act, the distributor's level of advice is very, very restrictive. It's actually only able to talk in factual terms about policy, products and features, and generally they would not answer specific questions at all. During the policy period, there might be a few different ways that the policy needs to be engaged. There might be changes at the property. A common one would be works occurring through the year. There's an allowance within the Strata policies. It's usually around the $500,000, $500,000 level. Works above that need to be consulted with the underwriter and permission sought for the works to proceed. If it's major structural work that's to occur, there might even be additional or different insurances to take out on behalf of the Strata plan. Other areas could be a new valuation of the property which affects the sum insured, which means the broker then has to go to the holding underwriter and seek a new cover on the new sum insured based on the new valuation. Of course, there could be the unfortunate event of an unforeseen claim event, and the broker has a claim and is engaged during the year to seek settlement of a claim during the policy period. A broker is often the first point of contact in a claim. We'll receive information about an event that's occurred, and we'll analyse that for the extent of the information for submitting it to the insurer. We'll advise at the time if the claim is ready to submit or not. If it's not, we'll collect the information needed if there's a legitimate claim. If there's not a claim, we'll advise the insured accordingly. For major losses, if something major has occurred, we will seek to organise an assessor, that's a representative of the insurer, that will need to go on site and see exactly what's occurred and write a report for the insurer. Acting in the insured's best interest, we have to manage this process from beginning to end. So we will work with the loss assessor, understanding what stage the information is going back to the insurer, what's being covered on any areas that might be in dispute, but we will seek to advocate for the insured all the way through until the underwriters made their assessment and made a decision on the financial outcome.